Coming up next on Mental Health Matters with Marty and House Calls with the Doctors, we're going to continue our discussion on CBD versus THC. And, we need to stress again why it's important for us to get the vaccination. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Hey, it's me. It's your boy. It's Martina Sellers, and I am still your mental health hygienist coming to you live and in living color from Southern California. And I want to welcome you again to House Calls with the Doctors and Dr. Allen. Listen, y'all know we have real life practicing doctors, and they break up their day to join us and be a part of this show. But let me remind you that this show is intended for strictly educational purposes only. We are not your primary care. We are not your therapist, but we want you to know we want to make this to be a supplement. Touch your neighbor and say supplement. Supplement to what you are already doing. We just want to give you our best advice and make some recommendations to you. Now, we always want you to contact your primary care and your therapist of choice. But if you are experiencing any type of medical or psychological emergency, please, I urge you, please go to your nearest urgent care or dial 911. With that being said, listen, I hope you are doing well out there. Nikki, what's going on? Cousin, how you feeling? Let us know that you are watching. Who's out there watching? Like and share. If you missed us last Wednesday, we had it going on with Dr. Rita, and we're going to continue this discussion as we were talking. Listen, we are so excited that you are joining us in this. And, since this show has started with Dr. Allen, since this show has started with Dr. McKinney, and since this show has started with Dr. Horn, we have been giving you some amazing, amazing advice. Thomas, what's going on? And medical advice. Because you know what? We want to stop this stinking thinking as it pertains to health and wellness in our communities, in our Black and brown communities. We are suffering the most due to lack of knowledge. And we have the premier doctors here to share with you. So as we are going along, Dr. Allen, are you ready? We're going to wait till you get in. Are you ready? Listen, while we're doing this, hey, what's going on, Corey? Okay, we got you. That's all right. We're going to bring in all the way. Listen, we're glad she's not swimming here tonight because she got floods going on down there in Lake Charles, but we are glad that she's safe and sound all the way from the South, y'all. We are so glad to have it. She's our resident straight shooter. She lets you know how it T.I. is, and we're so glad to have her. So welcome to the stage again, none other than Dr. McKinney.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Listen, how are you?
Again.
That's right. Listen, we're so glad to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing blessed. Yeah, we have a lot of rain down here, floodings. Yeah. We have, in the state, I think we've had 8 deaths so far.
Wow.
One specifically in Lake Charles, strictly due to the flooding. Okay. This makes the 4th natural disaster we've had in the city in the last 8 months. We had Hurricane Laura in August. We had Hurricane Delta in October. We then had the freeze in February. We followed that with this torrential rain that is going on now that has closed schools for the rest of the week. Flooding. People who had just got back to their homes are now taking in 3 feet of water. It's just causing significant problems, and we have infrastructure issues. We have pandemic issues. We have overall health issues, and this is adding to a even more complicated situation. If you've already had mental health matters, like you always said, if you had stinking thinking, can you imagine what it's like for you if you've now been through what is your 4th incident? Your house is flooded. You where do you go from here? I have friends who are in their 80s and they just got back in their house and now they're flooded and took in 3 feet of water.
Wow. Well, definitely our prayers.
Really at risk. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And we appreciate what you're doing. You know, a lot of times we don't recognize our frontline workers, our medical doctors, our firemen, our policemen, you know, and can we say our grocery store men and women who are out there who are trying to keep the community together. So we applaud you. We thank you for the amazing work that you do and why you do it, because you love people. And, you know, I definitely even gone through a pandemic, and you're still dealing with all this in the midst of this pandemic. You know, I know what it's like just being on this end, but I can do Zoom, be like, okay, you good? All right, let's go. You actually are seeing them. So y'all, yes, let's continue to pray for them, and let's show our love to what they're doing. And definitely my mama's on here. You know, my mama is a huge fan. I was down there tonight. She got, you doing the show tonight, right? I said, yes, mama, we're doing this show.
Tell mama I said hello.
I definitely will. Let's bring on also, listen, she was delivering babies last week, but she's here with us this week. And I heard it's her birthday coming up. Yes. None other than Dr. Jamie Horn.
Hi.
Dr. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm hoping I can stay the whole hour. And my heart goes out to you and your family. My prayers are with you guys. I had no idea it was that bad until you just mentioned it.
Right. That is so. But yeah, we're glad, you know. And y'all, this is a live show. These are actual live doctors who are doing it. And Dr. Allen, she's on her way. She just delivered one baby from one hospital, heading over to another hospital, going to set up real quick to be with us. And then she's going to go deliver another baby. See, we aren't playing here. These are live, real doctors doing it day in and day out. Dr. Jamie, wait a minute. Someone told me that you have a birthday coming up.
I know, 25.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, wait a minute. Why y'all laughing?
Well, I mean,
again,
we were celebrating with you. With you.
And look, you didn't tell me we were partying in LA, so I'm laughing every day then.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be going home to LA. I can't even tell you. I am so excited.
So do you know how much I would have appreciated an invitation to go to LA in the midst of all this storm that my BFF left me out? I just don't know what to say.
Girl, you know you can always stay with me. If I got a place to stay, you got a place to stay.
That's right.
My goodness.
Well, we are so excited and glad that you are here this week. We know that you were delivering babies. You jumped on and had to pop off. And we know that you guys are always in real time. And I'm so glad that people get to see really the hard work that you do, and you being women of color in there. We applaud you because, again, we don't get to talk and have this type of forum with different women and everything. 25 because we don't crack. Happy early birthday and prayers to Lake Charles and surrounding areas. That's right.
Thank you.
Yes, that's my cousin, and she has a wonderful. She's going to be hosting her podcast here soon, but she has a nonprofit called No Frown Zones, and it's to support women of color who have children with Down syndrome. So my little cousin has Down syndrome, and we know that can be very tough. On the family, emotionally, psychologically, physically. And then, you know, a lot of times we blame ourselves in that process as well. And we want to help. So we'll have her on one day to talk about Down syndrome and all that. But listen, catch me up. Now, y'all, we know that the country is slowly going back. And we're going to go back to normal and all this. And the CD recommendation has been, if you've had your vaccination, both shots, if you had Moderna or Pfizer, or the one shot if you had Johnson Johnson, what is still your recommendation? Dr. McKinney, I'm going to talk to you first. What is still your recommendation about the vaccination? Because we are still reluctant in getting it. Why?
Okay, so people are always hesitant about something they feel was rushed, and rightfully so. What we have to do is pay attention to this constraints of which this vaccine was made and why it didn't take a year. You had different measures, different studies, different formats that were used during this development of this vaccine. The research modality they use using messenger RNA is not new technology. It's newly implemented for this purpose. but it had already been used in the search for at least 10 years. So when you needed a vaccine in a pandemic, you cannot take a year to do it. But they did 6 months of actual clinical research with thousands of people in a double-blinded controlled study to get side effects for people of all ages, races, except for teenagers and children, to find out if this vaccine was safe. And keep in mind, there are still study arms going on right now, and then there's a new study for smaller children. And now we are past a year with this people who began in the first arm of the study that have already given their data. When people talk about adverse effects, we're talking about 8 people out of 8 million people that had clots with one vaccine, which is Johnson & Johnson. When you talk about one death in the United States out of millions of people who got the vaccine, you cannot associate that death directly to the vaccine. Yes, the person got the vaccine and then soon died, but they could have been dying anyway, and we just didn't know, and they got the vaccine. So autopsy did not show that the vaccine was directly related to it. And then people mentioned Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron was still an elderly person. And there's no data that says that Hank Aaron directly died from the vaccine. So there's all sorts of rumors and sorts of dark web blogs. But you have to go back and look at the CDC literature and all the other things to determine what it means for you. So those that are taking the vaccine, what CDC seems to have done is said that if you took it, and we know that the majority of people in the North and the West are in the 40% range in taking the vaccine. The other people, like the South down here, is in the 20%. That means that 80 to 75% of people down South have not taken it, not even one shot. So we're talking, that's a huge number of people that have decided they're not going to take the vaccine because the death is not significant to them. So for a lot of people who are vaccinated, like myself and like Dr. Horn and Dr. Allen, I think most of us are still going to wear the mask out in public. I know I wear it when I go to the grocery store, because just because you have the vaccine does not mean you cannot get COVID, because you can. So I wear the mask because I don't know who has the vaccine or not. And if I'm going to public places where people I know for sure have not had the vaccine down here, I'm going to wear a mask in a public place. And I will go to a restaurant and I'll sit at my table with the people I know are not ill. That's what I do. And I travel. Don't get me wrong. But we have a group of people we travel with where we know are vaccinated and are not sick. That's how we do it, and we do it safely.
Yes, and those who don't want it, we're not forcing it on anyone. We're just trying. This show is simply to give you education and to tell you and to share with you knowledge that you normally could and would not get. Dr. Horn, tell us about even the vaccination, and then those women who are pregnant, and what is the statistics, and what is your recommendation about that as well?
So as far as the vaccination, I am recommending everyone get the vaccination, even pregnant women. And for me in my household, if you're going to live under my roof, you're going to need to be vaccinated, which I had to tell my daughter. Coming home, you need a vaccination. What I am seeing a lot of, one of the reasons that I wasn't on the call last week is because I had a patient that I had to deal with that was COVID positive. I am seeing more of it. And I know statistically wise, fewer people are getting COVID, fewer people are dying from COVID. But for the last month, I have had, I would say, at least 30 to 50% of the people on my list that I see are COVID positive. And I typically treat young, pregnant women and younger gynae patients. Right now, I have 3 COVID positive patients on my list. 2 are really sick and 1 is asymptomatic. But I feel like it's gotten worse. And when I talk to patients, like, have you gotten vaccines? People in your family get vaccinated. Everyone's telling me no. Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know enough about it. I don't know how it is in California or in Louisiana. But here in Illinois, you can get a vaccine without an appointment. You can just roll up and get a vaccine.
It's the same everywhere.
Family Christian Health Center. You can call. They can tell you what days. We're trying to give it out. A friend of mine said she was in a vaccine clinic and they wanted to get 500 people in the weekend. She said they barely got 100 people. And they were even giving out meals to people to come, get something to eat and get your vaccine. I just can't stress enough to the audience. It is very important. And if you have questions or concerns about it, meet with your primary care doctor who knows your history and can work with you through getting the vaccine, like what your concerns are.
There you go.
It's understandable. For my patients who are pregnant, they want to talk to me before they get the vaccine. That's completely reasonable. And I can answer your questions. And it might be the same for a diabetic. So you should see your primary care doc. But in general, I'm recommending everyone get the vaccine.
That's so good. Go ahead, doctor.
As far you were asking about, how are we going to behave with the mask?
Right.
I'm wearing my mask for two reasons. One, it's for if you're unvaccinated. I mean, if you're vaccinated, you should be free to take off the mask. Well, I don't know if the guy next to me without a mask is vaccinated or is he, just don't want to wear a mask. I'm not taking that chance. So while I'm out in public, I will have a mask on.
Likewise.
When I am in a small group with people that I know, I will take the mask off. And it's just become second nature to me, though, now.
It really has.
A mask. And I know.
I think for us, I think for all of us, even a year from now, some of us will still be wearing a mask because you don't know what variants are going to be coming out. And if you think about when you see people from China, they have been wearing masks since SARS. I just didn't know what the heck why they were wearing them, but they're wearing them to protect themselves from anything that would come out because SARS was something that affected them drastically. And I wanted to also mention the new state law that Texas did recently, making it against the law for any business to require you to wear a mask in public. So in one hand, they're talking about government overreaching, and then they're overreaching and telling a private business they cannot require you to do a mask. I think that's in response mostly to that Costco has a policy at their store that you cannot wear you have to wear a mask to shop in Costco. That's their company policy. I mean, I think there's there's also in Trader Joe's. There are many places that require it. Now, if Texas has made it illegal, I don't even know how you enforce it and go against a private entity's policy. Just like they say, no shirt, no shoes. How are you going to tell them that they cannot require you to wear a mask to come in their place to protect their employees? I just don't get it. So,
and it's going to continue to be a struggle with that because, we're talking about mental health issues. We're talking about physical health issues and all of that. But we just want to stress to our listening audience, listen, we're not telling you what to do, but we're telling you, listen, be mindful of your own personal health. Carlinda, God bless you. That's your choice. We're not condoning or condemning anyone with your choice with that. And if that's what you choose, definitely. We're just again here to simply give you what we believe, what we know to be the facts about that. We have medical professionals. These are people that are trusted doctors here that we know who are the day in, the day out, the frontline workers. They've been vaccinated. See, what I think a lot of us don't realize are the stories that you guys see.
Right.
The patients that you guys see who are struggling, who are on ventilators, who are all those things, and we were talking about one earlier, the younger generation. Yes. Giving away. Yes. Vaccine. I hear you. Y'all read that comment. Okay. But we have to be mindful of in my bubble, I don't see it, but you guys are in the medical profession. And if I can't trust you all who we now have relationship with, then do I think that I'm smarter than anyone? I don't, but whatever choices that you all want to make. I know we were talking about, one of the things you were talking about when we're incubated and all these other things, how that because of COVID, how it really does affect our lives. Can you guys go into a little bit of that just so that our listeners will get a better understanding?
When you have COVID?
Yes, when you have COVID.
Oh, wow. Jamie can talk about some people who she's had recently, but getting COVID, aside from what it does to you in the immediate, should you survive it, you have long ramifications that we have no idea what it's going to do to your body. You have clotting disorder, taste disorders, neurological disorder, neuropathy, arrhythmias, respiratory complications, and the list goes on and on. People are getting on ventilators and taking months to get back to their normal status and going to rehab facilities, LTACs. LTAC is long-term therapy centers. So the idea that one of our listeners was, calling Dr. Fauci a quack, I just don't, I don't condone calling people out of their name. Dr. Fauci has been doing this and been the nation's lead virologist for decades. I don't think he's a quack, but each person is entitled to their opinion. He's out here trying to save millions of lives. And I think that to try to do things on the fly and grasp all the data is a very difficult and monumental task. Had we not politicized a medical health issue and simply given data and had people understand what it is, and keep in mind it changes because variants change. We have to give some grace to people who are out here fighting this disease every day. Didn't come with a manual. People's bodies don't come with books. So when you're calling him a quack, I wonder why you want to do that, because he is giving you valuable data. CDC director is giving you valuable data. Everyone is out here trying to do the best they possibly can in an unsurmountable situation. So, like, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to push anybody to have the vaccine. I'm going to give you the data, give you the information, show you where to go. You don't have to trust it, but please, let's refrain from demonizing and treating someone else who's out here doing a lifetime's work that they're committed to for you, even if you don't want it. Don't disparage people. Just try to be kind to one another.
That's good.
I'm over it already.
Yeah, we just humanize people. Go ahead, Dr. Horn.
No, I've heard this comment before, and one of the concerns people had was that they said, well, 1 minute they said wear a mask, 1 minute they say don't wear a mask, 1 minute they say we can be inside, another minute, we can't. And what I tell people is, over time, the research changes. Yes, in the beginning, they said don't wear masks. You remember they were saying don't wear the N95 mask, save them for healthcare workers. And when the supply increased, the data changed. So then they give out more information. And I've even had my mom who told me, well, didn't they tell us last week to wear 2 masks? This week they're telling us to wear 1 mask. And I'm saying, Mom, it changes every day. Every day we get new information and then they process that information. So we're not going to do the same thing every day.
Miss Sellers says, I think it's Miss Sellers says that she's still having symptoms from COVID almost a year. And there are people that are definitely having them. Can you imagine having to be on oxygen the rest of your life because of something that you could have prevented? Having incapacitated. There are people who could run marathons that can't anymore because of this disease. There are people who've lost limbs because of this disease. And Jamie's patient is still struggling for her life. This is a reproductive age woman that may not make it simply because during pregnancy she chose not to get a vaccine.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
It is, and we cannot ignore the millions of people around the world who have died from this. And we don't want to ever just gloss over their lives with that as well. So thank you for sharing and keeping us updated on that, guys. Okay, last week we had amazing conversation. Talked to Dr. Rita. We're going to get Dr. Rita back. Unfortunately, she had to do her doctor thing, y'all. I told y'all, we do everything live. These are real doctors who are really, really, really practicing. And we're gonna put the Cash App up here 1 week so y'all can give them a little love offering. Little love off. We were talking about CBD, some of the oils and some of these other things. So I know, Dr. McKinney, we were definitely talking about what that looks like and so forth. Where do you want to go with this today? And what's your recommendation based upon last week? Because we had a really excellent discussion. I learned a lot. I really did.
Yes.
And Dr. Rita was absolutely amazing.
Dr. McGuire, Rita McGuire is not here with us today. Again, practices in life gets us. As you see, Gwen is not able to make it with us today either. However, when going back and looking at some of the data and some of the research, CBD can be used for so many different things.
Yes.
It's good for anxiety disorders, nausea and vomiting. It's for pain, chronic pain disorders. It can even be used for your libido. However, just like using too much Tylenol and too much Motrin, if you use too much of it, it can have the opposite effect. So we have to be careful what we're doing with it. We also have to be careful what your job requirements and constraints are.
Yes.
You can't, again, I think we mentioned the last week, you cannot use the gas station CBD and think you're cool.
Right.
You have to find a reputable distributor that distributes you the purified, controlled CBD and not the one that has a higher percentage of THC, or you probably can lose your job. So in saying that, be judicious, be educated, and find out which CBD works best for you. All are not created equal. Look at what's in each composition. And I think when I looked, that Wakana has some of the most purified and best choices that you have. They have multiple variations, creams, oils, edibles, all kind of things. Now, keep in mind, I have not tried any of this because I need my job. But I have to figure out what can be best for patients.
Right.
There are some that are using, I would rather them use the CBD oils than THC that they're using off the street. That's my preference.
Did Dr. McGuire mention it in pregnancy? What were her thoughts on CBD in pregnancy?
I think she said in some instances it could be used for nausea and vomiting.
Right.
But again, she was saying that it was in the formation that you were using it and where they were getting it made the biggest difference. So again, basically what I just said, buying marijuana off the streets is never going to be better for you because people are lacing it with other stuff. You don't know what pesticides and organisms they put on it. And, you know, sometimes they even carry some spores that could be detrimental to your health. And so we have to be careful with that. So I think the CBD, if I were to choose which one my patients were doing to treat their nausea and vomiting, if they had refractory to whatever medical treatments that we have, I think the CBDs, I would prefer them over the THC.
Right.
Lovely. Dr. Allen has just joined us, so let's bring on Dr. Allen. We're so glad to have her. Dr. Allen, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm just trying to
there you go.
here. Can you guys hear me? I can hear you.
Good. See, Dr. Allen has on her mask.
I've been trying to get through here.
Yes.
I just took it off so I can talk to you guys. Sorry about the bad lighting and I'm bad hair, but it's okay. I'm here.
Listen,
I was listening to you guys.
Dr. Allen, you're always fabulous. We love you and we appreciate you. So we started our discussion with the CBD. And we're doing part 2 of that. And so just some of the things, and I was just sharing, I learned so much last week. And definitely we want to have another time that Dr. Rita can definitely join us to now show us product and some of these other things. But based upon what she was sharing last week, what were some of the highlights that you saw last week and wanted to further discuss?
I think one of the things that we need to talk to people about, that it's not the end all. I mean, it's not the answer to
be all
every
end all.
thing. Just because you have anxiety doesn't necessarily mean you smoke marijuana. You have problems with your family, you smoke marijuana. I got joint pains and I smoke marijuana, or I use CBD oil. I think one of the things that I was hoping that Dr. McGuire was on, because she does have a product line and she can tell us what's the best entity and what you could use. Because if you have something, because if you really, really think about it, anxiety, if you're going to rub some lotion on your hand, will that really cure your anxiety? So I was hoping that she would come on to talk about that, but unfortunately she's not. From our level of expertise, we can only speak to you about marijuana and pregnancy, and which we don't recommend because we still have some long-term sequelae and we don't have enough data to support that. But we see, and I don't know if Dr. Horn talked about, I was not present.
Just yet.
Because we also see this thing that with people who have recurrent marijuana use and pregnancy, they have this wretcheding, nausea and vomiting and things like that. And so that's where the problem comes in, because now we see those individuals who come in, oh, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I smoke marijuana because it's legal. And then now you have hyperemesis in the second and third trimester, which is basically unheard of. But now we're getting into those things that we're seeing the long-term sequelae of marijuana.
Love that. Dr. Horn, do you want to continue?
I've been driving guys are back on the road because of the
she's frozen.
All that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Awesome. Go ahead, Dr. Horn.
Oh, okay. So how this kind of topic came about a year ago, I had a patient that had nausea and vomiting just continuously. She was losing weight. I did a GI workup. She was hospitalized for weeks on end. And I knew that she used marijuana, but I didn't, really think much about it. And I happened to read a study on refractory nausea and vomiting due to marijuana use.
Oh, wow.
As soon as she stopped smoking,
she was all right.
She was all right. And she had $1 million workup. Since her, I've had 2 other patients with that. And it might have been a reason for a lot of other patients that I had that I just, never knew that the syndrome was out there. So I don't recommend it either to my patients for nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. I don't tell them. I tell them the effects that we think THC has on pregnancy. For the last show, I had done a little digging, and they found that small for gestational age, there have been some studies that have shown that kids whose moms smoked are at increased risk for autism, but that study wasn't backed up.
Okay.
But that was very interesting to me. But the main thing was small for gestational age preterm deliveries. So it is not recommended in pregnancy.
No smoking is recommended in pregnancy. There's nothing you can smoke that is going to be something that's going to give you a great outcome. It used to be they would say, I prefer THC over nicotine.
Right.
But now you can't even say that because there's some people that are still having adverse outcomes. So as time goes on, we learn more and more. And we've been in this a while now. So no one can say there's a safe amount of cigarettes or alcohol or anything you can smoke that would be great in pregnancy. Period.
Right. Right. Now, what about we know the THC from smoking. Now, what about, I know we talked about a little bit last week about some of the CBD does not have the THC in it, maybe to help with some of the anxiety. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'll make that clear. So I don't know. So what are you saying? What would your recommendation or any of that be for that?
There's no studies for that either.
Okay. Fair enough.
There is nothing.
Do you recommend
really,
it, Marty, for your patients?
Issue that
do I? I don't know enough about it, so I talk to them about it, but I don't have enough knowledge about it so I cannot say one way or the other. That's why with Dr. Rita, I was definitely hoping that we'll get her back on another time, because I definitely want to know, because if there's something that's more natural, that maybe doesn't have those side effects, I'm definitely in agreement with it. But I'm always trying to talk to them about what are some other things we can do. I'm going to look at diet. I'm going to look at self-care. I'm going to look at exercise. I'm going to look at some of the situations and impeding situations that's causing the anxiety before I'm going to make a recommendation to refer out to a psychiatrist. So we're going to try and do some of these other things first. And that's the kind of the general rule that I use.
Right.
Go ahead, Dr. Allen.
There is early, long-term. I mean, we still have a long way to go before we can start using CBD for the cure-all for all kind of medicines. Like you were saying, and Giselle was saying, that there is not enough studies there, but we still have a lot of laymen. We still have other people in the fields trying to do some investigational studies. But right now, we cannot say yay or nay if they're going to see some long-term, benefits. But we do know that because of marijuana, that people who have chronic pelvic pain, they do very well. And it's actually not necessarily the THC, like we talked about before with Dr. McGuire, it is the CBD. I got that right this time. And so, and those, the receptors in the brain, things of that nature to kind of help the pain receptors. And so there is a, how can I say, there is a avenue for CBD oils and hemp. We just don't know exactly in what concentration, what formulation that is actually beneficial. That's my thing.
Yeah, totally understand that. And so even in your practices, and as we're growing and learning more about this, do you guys recommend any CBDs, or what's your thoughts with that, Dr. McKinney, as you're seeing some of your patients, and what are, or maybe even some things that you're continuing to research and that you're looking into yourself?
Well, I have to be very careful about recommending any of that for my medical malpractice. What you choose to use on your own, I have discussions with patients about their lack of study. I know that CBDs outside of pregnancy can have some benefits. I can pull studies up for that. I don't recommend it for anybody, but I tell them to do their own due diligence because it's something they can buy on the counter. I don't discuss whether people should take aspirin unless they're taking it too much, and I'll tell them that can cause GI bleeds and etc. So I don't know enough to tell people to use it for any condition, because when you make these statements, people think you're giving medical knowledge, medical advice, and I'm not doing that. So you can buy it and try it if that's what you want. People try natural oils, they try herbs and everything, and I discuss even especially in pregnancy, that everything natural is not good for you. Mushrooms are natural too, but they can still take you to a mental psychotic episode as well. So I think everything has its place, but in pregnancy, I'm very cautious about telling anybody they can take something like CBD or THC or anything like that. Some people who find relief from it and increase their appetite, we have to be careful too, because if you're a diabetic and it's increasing your appetite and you're eating more carbs, then you got another set of problems. So no, I don't recommend CBD, THC, or anything like that, but I will have a discussion with my patients about the benefits they feel that they have and what some CBD can do for you, as well as what it can get you in trouble with as well.
I love you. You mentioned mushrooms and everything. Do you feel good mushrooms are back on the rise? Because I'm having patients who are coming to me like, "Oh, I tried shrooms. I tried shrooms." I'm like, "What is going on? That people are going back to shrooms." Are you guys seeing that with your practice? Oh, I'm seeing
people are going backwards. Period. They don't trust medicine. They don't trust vaccines. They don't trust pharmaceutical medicines, and so they're now going for these naturopathic treatments. Not that naturopathic treatments don't have a place, they definitely do. They were the precursor to what we have now. But yeah, they're going all backwards, and some of these shrooms gonna get you straight out of here.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they're just having these psychotropics and psychedelic reactions and all that. Dr. Allen, are you seeing it?
The corner.
Are you seeing it in your practice? Because I'm definitely seeing out here in the IE. I'm like, what are y'all doing with these shrooms?
I'm actually seeing it, and I think one of the issues that we're having is that, you know, people are in the process of trying any and everything right now. We're trying to say that they're trying to get more natural, but we don't understand that the purity of these products, and we cannot tell you what's in it. You know, you're going to smoke mushrooms. We've known from back in the 60s that mushrooms are hallucinogenic. They have this thing that you're going to see pink elephants and blue moons and things of that nature, but people are just reaching because, one, we've been in the house too long. We've been in the house. Remember the polka dot man from
UC Berkeley?
Where we used to go? Berkeley.
Berkeley. She said, "Where did we used to go?" I'm dead.
All the time.
We did. Maybe that's what he was on. He was taking some shrooms.
It was a long day, man. I have had. He was on shrooms. You know, he was.
Maybe he was on shrooms.
You know, but I think now it's just a matter of us trying to figure out what's the best blend. What we looked at, CBD is so early on the market. There's only one drug that has been approved by the FDA, and that's for epilepsy. It has a known concentration. And you have to have a prescription for it. That's the only drug that the FDA has approved. But everything else, there's no FDA, approval for anything. So we just have to sit there and watch and wait. That's my thing on it. But again, when we see, I don't know, like what everybody practices, and so you have CBD oil and then you have THC, medical marijuana, that's what really gets me. I come into my practice and then I walk into a room and it smells like I'm gonna get a high. My thing to these people is like, really, you guys, when we were growing up, you smoke marijuana, somebody's growing it in their field or whatever, it didn't have that stench. So if you're walking around with the same stench that smells very bad, this is not a purity. You have to make sure what you're getting is something that's pure. And like Rita McGuire said, that from a reputable distributor. So now we have all these little pop-up CBD places, medical marijuana places, and they have all kind of stuff into them, but you cannot quantify, what's in it. And it's mixed with all kind of stuff. And so you want to know in your field, Mari, why people are now coming to you tripping with early stage schizophrenia, manic depression, because they're smoking stuff they think may be pure and may not be pure at all.
Yes, so I totally agree with you.
Don't do it, but I'm saying be careful what you're out there smoking.
Be careful. Yes, and make sure you do the research. And that's why, I know there's some holistic doctors out there. We're definitely going to get Dr. Rita and again another time to so that we can be educated. And too many of us are just going to the corner store that has the little green cross on it or whatever, the green X plus sign.
That's only in LA.
Only.
Oh, you guys don't have that little
Jesus.
No,
we do not.
Everywhere here.
No.
No. Well, I guess so. Someone says, "What in the world is mushrooms?" So now are we bringing back? Yes, licking toads too. That is funny.
Yes. I bet we'll be doing leeches next week. I don't know.
Right.
That hasn't come
they still do that.
No, are you serious?
But I think one of the things that the what do you call that? These marijuana distributed places are like, remember in Black communities, you had everywhere you saw a liquor store, you saw a church. Right. So now we see a church, a liquor store, and a marijuana dispensary.
And marijuana dispensary.
You see all these little green things. Yeah, that is the common, that's the norm. And they're in the most obvious places. You go to the liquor store, next thing too or you go to a smoke shop, the smoke shop, the liquor store, the 7-Eleven, and the church. That's what we start.
Here's what I don't understand.
Black community.
How you can have all of these medical marijuana distributors and all these Black people that have been to jail for marijuana possession, and not one Black person hardly in any state is a marijuana distributor. Right. I just don't get it. It's not like you can't qualify. Heck, half of them smoking it anyway. So why can't you get the license for it?
Right. And that's the thing is, since I authorized real bad, sad to say, CBD helped me out of a great deal of a little high, but it helped me. No, my pain. And am I wrong? No, Renee.
She's right.
No, Renee, we're not saying you're wrong at all. So that's what we want to clarify. Listen, if you found the thing that's going to work for you, definitely. Only thing we're saying is talk to your doctor about it as well, because we want you to be safe. And so that's what Dr. Rita, who's a medical doctor, has done her research and found. So that's what we're trying to pull from her, because she talks about the dosage of it to make sure, because she's going to give you the right dosage. And she talked about how someone's body weight and frame maybe can handle this dosage where someone else's can only handle this. And those are the things we have to look at as well. I hear you. I have lots of patients who have said that, the CBD has helped with their anxiety, has helped with their depression. We know we're all for something that's going to take the edge off, but we just want to make sure that you are doing it and it's safe and you won't have side effects or something that's detrimental later on down the road.
But Ms. Renee, we were talking about specifically pregnant patients.
Yes.
We weren't telling people who were not pregnant to not try it. Pregnant people gives us a different perspective. So we're talking about people who are in gestation and what it can do to pregnancy. People who are not pregnant, have fun. Let's see if it works. I think you should try it and see what it does for you. But I'm talking about in pregnancy, where we have to look out for two people. So there's no studies done on anybody pregnant. Nobody's gone back retrospectively and see. We're talking about mostly THC and what it's done in pregnancy, because people are using it on the uprise now, and we have a competition. But CBD, if that's helping with your arthritis, keep using it.
Girl, keep using it.
Yes. Yeah. I know my mother had some CBD oils that she used. Listen, and all her and her cousins and sisters, all of them on canes and walkers and everything, went to the CBD store. I said, Lord help them, Jesus, because they need all the help they can get.
You know, it's crazy.
Amen to that.
CPDs and everything. For my birthday, my girls got me facial products.
Right.
With CPD in it.
Everything.
I was like, what is that going to do? But she said it's going to help so I don't get wrinkles. So I was like, I'm going to try it.
There you go, sis.
Right.
You ain't got no wrinkles anyway. Why you playing?
I know.
I think one of the things that we also need to discuss is that CBD is taking away the opiate addiction. So if we have an opportunity to give people CBD oil or any hemp products and things like that, and it helps with their chronic pain, I say go for it, because there's such a minimum amount, negotiable amount of THC that's associated in hemp products and CBD. So that stops people from becoming addicted to the Norcos, the Vicodin, and the Percocet.
Right.
So Renee, yes, if it's working for you, continue with it. I'd rather see you doing a CBD oil or a gummy bear or something of that nature, as opposed to doing opiates, because once you get on the opiates, there's a difficult thing to return from that. So yes, we do support it. All we're doing is saying is that we need more research on it. And it's a new field and we need to jump on it. I would love to see more people of color try other methods of pain relief as opposed to doing some type of hardcore drug. So I'm for it. And I think, like we said, the biggest thing is being a medical profession is that we cannot quantify the dose. Since we cannot quantify the dose, that makes it very difficult for me to support. But once it gets to a point where I can say, for your anxiety, you take 2 scoops of CBD, I'm good. But right now, since I don't say that,
she said 2 scoops.
2 scoops of raisin in a bottle of
in a bottle of but that's true, because
we figure out,
because we can't keep getting the gummies and everything from Ray and them and talk about, oh, my cousin made these, and you walking around like a zombie all day and don't remember anything. And I think that's what we, when we stop enjoying life and we become the walking dead, there's a problem, with that. And we're using it as excuses, and so we don't have to face maybe what's going on. I'm all for from my mental health perspective. Listen, even if you're taking psychotropic meds, I want you to still see me or some other professional, because we need to get to the root of the problem, because you're only masking it. And we can no longer continue to mask everything without dealing with what is the real problem and the situation that you are dealing with. Definitely. So with that, Dr. Allen, we're getting close to our wrap-up time. Yes, with Daryl's in the back talking about 10 minutes. He's making sure we stay on track. What would you like to just share with people again? As I know you're about to you're about to deliver a baby. Is your patient ready?
No, he got cut. Well, I don't know. Is it spinal in? Okay.
See, we a live show, y'all.
Well,
we're a live show. We deliver babies.
And a C-section in the other. So that's out of the hospital, and they looking a little bit tore up. The light is not good. I don't have Giselle's effect. I got the darkness rolling on me. I'm not you can see all my face. I need a little CBD oil on my chin to make sure it's okay, but it's all right.
Jesus.
You
looking fabulous, sister.
Looking fabulous. You can't even see, but
y'all doing the job and still looking good. Go ahead.
I want to touch on thing. I was off in the beginning. I know I want to re-stress the fact that, let's go back to the, what's the thing we're talking about, COVID? Because we have a mandate and a list to come off of it, I think people still wear masks. In my private practice, I still require that you have to wear your mask regardless if you're fully vaccinated or not. I'm still sticking to the 6 foot. You have to have that distance there, and also no visitors are at my practice. I think those are some of the things that we should still continue with. We should also continue with the fact that, we don't know where we're headed in the next year or so. They're lifting a lot of things, and we have to make sure that we protect ourselves. There's a lot of people that you cannot trust, even in your own little bubble. You don't know if everyone is vaccinated. So if you want to stay safe, you need to continue with your mask. I still double mask. I'm in the hospital now. You see my mask is still right here. I just took it off and just put it by the side so I can speak. But I still encourage everyone out there to get vaccinated, get fully vaccinated, and continue to wear your mask until we can see that everyone, or there's been a significant difference. I can also tell you that you didn't see much flu this year. You did not see seasonal allergies this year. And the reason why you didn't see that, because 90% of the people wore a mask. So therefore, these airborne illnesses did subside just a little bit, or actually 50%, because of the fact that we did take universal precautions. So I still advise people to wear your mask, use safety, and then so we can live healthier and longer lives. That will be my recommendation in the last couple of minutes of the show.
Love that. Wow. The season, I didn't realize that seasonal allergies you said went down about 50% because people were wearing masks. That's amazing right there.
Well, there's a study out that showed how we ended up with all these horrible allergies in the United States, that trees and plants come with male and female species. And some Fruit Loop back in the 50s, so everybody would plant male trees, and then they didn't plant as many female trees. So in the United States, we have more allergies, airborne allergies, because we planted all these male trees and the female trees went down and they have no balance. So now you have this horrible pollen issue. That's why we have all these allergy issues leading to other problems in the United States. Because somebody thought it was not important.
Was the somebody a male?
Oh, of course it was.
Of course.
Wait a minute. I'm the only male on here. Wait a minute. I'm out.
Let me just say, but you're not part of the Fruit Loop Express. But it was a hot mess. You have to be a whole heap of crazy to be so sexist that you want to plant all male trees. And that's why we all jacked up.
Wow. I didn't even know
that. Now you got to
that.
plant some female trees.
Well, we're going to plant some female trees out here to help balance all this out and everything. Listen, how do we, as always, Dr. Horn, about to celebrate your 25th birthday. Love it, love it, love it. Dr. Allen, she says she's turning 25 again. So we going with it because black don't crack.
We're going to go with you. Black is not cracking at all. All of us looking pretty good to be 25. I must say so myself. Let me pop my collar. 25 is cooking. Even the lighting. Let me change my lighting. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Come on.
There's my lighting. Look at that 25. Look at that skin. Whoa.
Lord.
Little chin over there.
The show has gone off the rails.
I love it.
I know we have gone off. But I have to see you guys because I have to go to surgery. We will be
go to surgery. Be safe, Dr. Allen.
All
right. Take care.
Be
safe. Yes. Listen, we know how to have fun. So before we leave, Dr. Horn, give us your parting words and happy birthday on behalf of Mental Health Matters with Marty.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Y'all show some love to Dr. Horn and tell her happy birthday.
For my birthday gift, everyone out there who hasn't been vaccinated.
That's good.
Get a vaccine or at least talk to your provider about it. Make an informed decision to keep you and your family safe. That would be a fantastic birthday present.
That is so great. And Dr. Horn, for those who are in the Chicago area who might be listening, how can they get a hold of you and where do you reside? Do your residency and all that again?
So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, and I'm at Family Christian Health Center in Harvey, Illinois.
Wonderful. Well, as always, Dr. Horn, you always bring us wonderful information, especially for those who are pregnant. And I love your passion with that. And happy birthday. And I'll be seeing you in a couple days anyway. So excited. Yes. Dr. McKinney. Yes. Listen, our prayers are still out for you guys. But parting words and how can we get a hold of you down in Lake Charles?
Well, as always, continue to pray for us down here in Lake Charles. You can reach me also on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but I'm kind of like incognito. I'm not actually.
I understand.
And I'm at Lake Charles Memorial Hospital for Women at the Gaucher campus. Our office is you can find us on Facebook as well. And we have the website, Lake Charles Memorial Hospital for LakeCharlesMemorialHospital.com. So we can find us there.
Awesome. And of course, as you all know, Dr. Allen is at the Gardena Women's Center.
Gardena.
Yes. And we are so grateful for her with that as well. And as always, guys, we thank you for joining us for another House Calls with these amazing doctors. Again, I am Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist. Check out my website at mentalhealthmarty.com. And our podcast. Listen, for those who didn't share, I celebrated a year of podcasting on yesterday, and we had a great show. So if you're not, yes,
Woo, happy anniversary!
Woo, that's right. Thank you. You listen, if you have not subscribed to Mental Health Matters with Marty, listen, subscribe. And if you are an Apple listener, please give us a 5-star rating and also leave us a review and become an iMatter member by subscribing and texting iMatter to 855-717-1272. Why do we ask you to do that? Because when you give us a 5-star rating, when you give us a rating and leave us a review, and when you share this, it moves our podcasts up in other areas. We need your help because we want to make sure that we are reaching people of color. I want to make sure I'm reaching Black men, Black families, brown families, because we can no longer secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame. But we got to learn how to stop the stinking thinking. I'm going to have these doctors on my podcast real soon. But listen, we will see you in 2 weeks. And we got a surprise happening in 2 weeks you're not going to be ready for. I want to tell you, but I can't. But listen, we'll see you in 2 weeks. As I always say and in each show, don't forget to speak up, speak out, and live. And always remember to enjoy your life. We'll see you in 2.